Hello, this is our learning journey. I'm Augie.
I'm Matt.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Salvatore.
So, what happened over the course of our work? It kind of came very organically. I think in our first meeting, we established what community we wanted to explore, and from there, it kind of gave us a quick head start on discovering what the Bellingham house venue scene is. It came very organically as well. As we learned more about the community, we learned how what aspects and parts of it we need to learn more about, what we had a good grasp on. So yeah, we kind of just went with the flow and took a very pragmatic approach to our interviews and different shows we attended.
So, doing this project, we got to experience and get involved in a lot of different activities. So we went to shows, we went to band practices, we had drinks and meals with band members, we interviewed show attendees and cleanup volunteers and organizers and even people who had chosen to leave the community after some time. And then even our own Augie got to attend the Banff Music Festival for its first iteration this year.
The way we got all our information and everything together was we heard many people in the community. We heard the band member side of the story, we heard the audience side of the story, and the way we got all the data together is we used Google Drive. And even though we all couldn't meet at the same time, we were able to work from home and put all our data online and be on the same page.
So this is an important concept that we kind of learned. I think we're all going to take into future projects is the need to draw from different sources in order to gain like a solid, holistic view of a community or just anything. It's all about gathering as much information you can and gaining concepts and ideas from there.
Yeah, I mean, we had to be really careful because early on we had one person saying that there was no music scenes outside of Bellingham, and then the more and more we explored that idea, the more and more it seemed that, no, this is actually a completely normal thing, it's just different here than other places. And it just kind of showed us that there was different parts of the community that these people were not being allowed into. So, over the course of this project, we made a lot of pivots. So we were trying to bring in data from as many disparate sources as possible, like not just giving the insider's perspective on how great everything was, but also just like giving the outsider's perspective shit on everything. So every week we had meetings where we brought in all of our information and kind of compiled it together, and even did kind of on-the-fly Facebook messages to make sure that that was happening. And through these meetings, we would actually be able to kind of sit down, take everything in, and analyze the validity of it, and then kind of assemble it into a more holistic picture of this very scattered and somewhat segmented community.
We all went to different house shows, oftentimes individually or one or two of us. We had trouble actually going to one together because of different schedules, different types.
And the different types of community like we went to, like I comparatively went to Moshe Isley by myself, and we had Augie going to the start and finish of the Mind Palace, and then you also have Ryan and Salvatore who went together, and all of these had different perspectives, and we would meet up, but it also gave a larger view of the community by doing this. We got to experience how house shows were different.
We were also able to experience the differences between house shows and when these bands would perform downtown. And that kind of gave us a realization on why house scenes are so important.
There's also kind of a difference in what kind of type of music was played at different venues. Moshe Isley is a little more punk, whereas Mind Palace is more indie. So you just kind of saw the variations even within the house venue scene. So what did we do? What activities did we participate in? I met up with Dane, the lead singer of Chimney, and Nate Kahn, the lead singer of Stepdads, in two separate interviews. And both these bands are kind of more embedded in the community and kind of have found their place. And then I contacted the organizer at the Mind Palace, Michael, and he let me stay at the Mind Palace. And I also attended Banff, which was really cool. It was local artists went there, and everybody there was an artist, and I just experienced the community, which was really cool.
Whereas I interviewed Miles, a former rapper, and I got to see how the rap scene and the alternative rock indie music playing bands were two different communities. And this also went into when I interviewed Quinn, a part of Your forbearance. And we went to a recording studio after I interviewed her, and we talked about how the sexism that occurs in the house show scene, as well as the barriers to entry for bands just starting up. Overall, the next day, going to Mosh Isley and getting to see a couple of bands and interviewing a lot of people.
Salvatore and I went downtown and we had a 30-minute detailed interview with Chimneys, and we watched them live at the Shakedown. I was also able to meet Tetrachromat, my friend's band, and they're experimenting with instrument to experimental metal, which is a new scene genre of music.
And myself, other than starting out with catching the tail end of Chimney's set with Ryan and doing that interview, I was able to talk to Olas, who's from the entrepreneurship program, who was actually one of the key coordinators of putting Banff on, and getting his perspective on what Banff was doing to serve that community. I also got to go with Augie to the Mind Palace and do some kind of crowd work interviews, just getting the actual attendees' perspective on things. And then finally, I talked to my good friend Abby Haig, who's part of a 3/4 female band, and she gave me a lot of interesting insight into the tokenization of females trying to enter the music scene, as well as issues with diversity at large. So, were we competent? Well, we think that since the empathy deep dive is all about exploration, we were competent as hell. We started off with just trying to find all these different ways that we could each individually access the community and get into different parts of it and really see different scenes within this larger community. But we still invested a lot of effort in tying all of that information together and really rationalizing all the information that we were gathering from each other. We weren't just doing our own projects. And from this, we were able to gain a really full and comprehensive view of the community that doesn't just take into account how great it is or how terrible it is or its strengths or its weaknesses, but really looks at it as a whole and sees what's great about it now and how it could be greater in the future. Thank you.